is one of the most difficult times to speak just after lunch. Everybody is asleep, nearly. I will try to do it short and sharp. I'll start with one slide about our media outreach. We are now on about 200 videos in total, and around just this morning 26,000 accumulated hits. We have 120 subscribers on the Euroluna Plus, and we've done more or less what we are supposed to do in the GLXP blog, which I'm pleased to see we might not need to do in the future. So we will concentrate on where we've had success, which is on the YouTubes and the videos there. Now, just to remind you that we are connected up with a few of partners, whereas we're getting our propulsion from the Institute of Technology Wiener Neustadt in Austria. We are following closely in the CubeSat tradition of the Swiss Tube, where we have a good collaboration going at the moment. Now, the progress in 2013 is that we have the first test satellite where the hardware is nearly ready, and we were that close to signing a launch agreement for that satellite when we had a set of difficulties. Thermocouple failed in a vacuum test, and since this was one of the tests where we were running it down to a fairly low vacuum, it took 48 hours to get down to operational pressure. The moment that we had the failure inside the chamber, that was the end of that test. We had to take it out, and we have to reschedule the tests later on. Now, redesigned, we still have a hope of launching in Q4 for our test satellite. It remains a hope. We haven't signed on the dotted line yet. Our third mission is what we call it. We have a launch hope in 2015 early. We need a significant lead time because we have a long journey up there, something looking like 9 months in spiral orbit, going slowly out. So therefore, if we have to do it before the end of 15, which there might be some news about later, we will need to start fairly early. Now, we've had a significant ramp up in our equipment in 2013. We have a high vacuum chamber in our own labs now, rather than going out and renting. The pressure we're going down to is 10 to minus 10 bar, or 10 to minus 7 millibar is what typically is the unit that's used for that. When I write nearly, it's because we're getting to a factor 2 or factor 5 above that. But it means that we can test a number of the things, iron engine, neutralizer, those kind of things that we need to test. We can test them in our own laboratory now. Here is an example of the vacuum pump. Double vacuum pump, and the vacuum chamber above, which is basically just a tube of stainless steel which is connected up, and a pressure transducer on the top with whatever measurements that's doing. The key challenges and difficulties in 2013-14 are basically unchanged from last time. We still haven't signed the launch agreements. We were very close. We are missing some financing for exactly that. And then we have a few technical snags which we have to iron out as we go. We have financing for our team. We have financing for the hardware. We lack full financing for the launch. That's where we stand right now. We have gone through a lot of administrative issues on launching in 2013 and beginning of 14, and we've learned a lot. This is not the ITAR regulations, but also Europe has a set of regulations about arms It basically means that when you want to launch something, at least from where we want to launch, you need to have an end user certificate under the arms regulations, and the sensitive components which we have found we needed to talk to authorities about is the solar cells, because they are high quality, 30%, those kind of things are considered as being sensitive. We need export licenses. We need to be registered in a satellite registration system, except that Denmark doesn't have a national system for that, but still we need to talk to various authorities. And there's the frequency allocation via ITU, and all that has taken a significant amount of time, so I'm passing on to those of you who have the same or similar things, your plans. Don't underestimate the administrative things there once you are ready to sign the launch agreement. In our case, we ended up in a situation where we were that close to signing, but then some of the conditions in the contract were made in such a way that if there was a failure to get a compliance piece of paper by some third parties, we would lose the launch and lose the money. So you know, be careful on those. Okay, that was that. So let's say our deal there fell through for administrative, technical, and a little bit for economic reasons, and I think we are rather happy that we didn't put that signature on that bottom of that page at that time. So a few pictures of our current spacecraft on its way into a bigger vacuum chamber, so that it can be tested under more realistic conditions. Close-up view of Rocket 1 ready to go in. A view of the things that happens when you start bringing down your pressure to 10 to the minus 5 millibar, and then what happens when you actually heat your spacecraft. What happens, of course, is that you get outgassing. A significant part of it might just be water, but nevertheless you get the outgassing, and that nearly increases your pressure inside with several orders of magnitude, which you then have to pump out again, and then we put it into thermocycles. So these are thermocycles you are seeing there, and before it has sort of stabilized the spacecraft in there, you cannot go down to the low pressure that we need. So current developments is that we are going on with a more advanced power supply for our FEEP, and that's exactly what's happening as we speak here. Now, coming to our ROMIC 3, which is the one that will be our attempt at the GLXP prize, I would like to say that we are going in for something which is probably a significant redesign. I would like to show you this. This is our new CubeSat. We've decided on a smaller size, and I'm pleased to say that this was just printed across in design terminal, where there is now around 50 3D printers up and running and printing whatever you can. So you can see that with that we will have great difficulties in having the payloads that GLXP is asking for. But I am actually proposing that we think about a payload container, and I think we think about 3D printing it so that it can fit in and slide in, and we may have to make a slightly smaller disk than what you are proposing right now, but it should be possible. Then I should say one thing I didn't catch in my presentation so far is that we are ramping up our ground station, our ground segment, so that we have 2 locations that should be capable of getting some signals down, and that's in development we'll do over the summer as such. And then the last thing I wanted to say is that if you are wondering about which of those local prizes to people here I'm gunning for, it's the one with most YouTube videos uploaded during the Teams. Thank you for your attention. So I didn't get the first question, but I got the second one.
The first one was about the launch vehicle. So which kind of launch vehicle do you use?
Which kind of launch vehicle?
Right.
The launch vehicle we were planning on using, the one where we nearly signed, was the Russian, and it's our orbital 90 inclination, 95 degrees or whatever, 600 kilometers altitude, polar orbit. The one that's leaving this month, the June flight. The vacuum chamber, we have one in our own laboratories, and the other one is in Vienna, the big one you saw. Yes, the big dimension one, the one that's 3 cubic meters or something like that, that's in Vienna. If we get all the way to the moon surface, we need a fairly big disk. And that's not the ground station we are ramping up right now. The ground station we are ramping up now is for near Earth orbit. We have access to a 7-meter disk in a relevance spectrum in Denmark from some of the radio amateur, and through those channels we have a link into one of those in Germany, which has an even bigger disk. This is part of what the plan is there. It's possible that we might have to, when we get that far, talk to SETI to see if we can use their array for receiving the things from the moon surface, because the link budget is not that good.
You're right.
Thank you.